Some healings refuse to live on the surface. Some hearts are built to submerge, to reach the bedrock of feeling and anchor invisible roots that hold relationships with the quiet strength of something that intends to stay. That is Cancer at its essence. Less a sign of loud declarations than of gestures that soothe, presences that shelter, silences that speak without asking permission. Ruled by the moon, Cancer breathes in phases. Moods shift with the tide. Intuition rises and falls like seawater finding the shore, and the soul pays attention to currents other people overlook. Affection here is protective, instinctive, almost ancestral. The Cancerian heart does not fear depth, it craves it the way cold hands seek fire. Love for Cancer is never distracted. It studies the small signals most forget to notice. It listens for what was never voiced. It recognizes feelings others tried to bury beneath polished masks. To love as Cancer loves is almost a spiritual craft, a devotion that reads the soul with eyes closed because feeling is the language most fluent and faithful. Not every spirit is ready for this kind of exchange. Not everyone can bear a love that asks for presence, clarity, and reciprocity. The kind that invites growth inside the bond, not just cinema kisses and occasional fireworks. Compatibility for Cancer doesn't end with taste, chemistry, or laughter at the same joke. It asks for soul, for emotional maturity, for someone who is willing to show up on bright days and stormy ones when the waters of life are higher. Cancer is not searching for any romance. It seeks a sanctuary, somewhere it can exist without shrinking, where emotion isn't labeled too much, but honored as sacred material, where memory matters and tenderness is treated as a form of intelligence. If this is already stirring something in you, keep breathing with it. And if your heart recognizes these tides, subscribe to Signs and Secrets so you don't miss the journeys we open together. Let this be your refuge, where your feelings are respected and your intuition is invited to speak. Cancer hopes for a partner who understands the holiness of a shared memory, who is not afraid to cry together, who can hear what only silence says. For Cancer, love is a home, a lap, a depth that chooses to remain. Astrology, this old map of archetypes and rhythms, points to a few signs that harmonize with the lunar pulse of Cancer. 4 in particular tend to speak the same ancient tongue, woven of empathy and reverent vows that don't need to be shouted to be kept. When these archetypes meet Cancer, attraction is not mere spark, it is an activation, the quickening of something that recognizes itself. We will travel through these 4 sacred encounters and intercombinations that turn relationships into portals for healing, devotion, and transformation. And if a memory of such love rises as you listen, share your date of birth and your zodiac sign in the comments. Your story may find another soul that still believes love is a sacred path. Each message here is a mirror for your inner world. Each video a reminder that real love is not extinct and it always begins within. Our first door opens to intensity and mystery. Cancer with Scorpio. Both are water, both carry a refined sensitivity that not everyone understands. And both know that when they join, they are not simply starting to date, they are waking a karmic thread, a deep, almost hypnotic bond that feels older than their names. Cancer brings lunar shelter, that tender affection that becomes protection. Scorpio arrives with the gravity of a lover who has looked at endings without blinking and loves with no plan to retreat. The first meeting often lands like a struck match in a quiet room, as though two lives had waited lifetimes to meet again. Scorpio is magnetized by Cancer's emotional purity, the way Cancer gives unmasked without clever manipulation, offering the raw truth of feeling. Cancer, in turn, is profoundly moved by Scorpio's emotional power, a sign that hides its wounds but holds a visceral hunger for fusion. Together, they practice living alchemy. Cancer teaches Scorpio to soften, to trust the tenderness that does not weaken but heals. Scorpio teaches Cancer to stand in full power, to face the personal underworld and distill fear into inner strength. Their exchange is never ordinary. It is consecrated. In intimacy, their bodies remember an old language. Cancer offers warmth, devotion, surrender of the heart. Scorpio offers intensity, desire, total presence. This is medicine disguised as love, pleasure braided with soul. Yet this is not a tale for the faint-hearted. Both must choose trust. Both must open without armor. Both must remember they are not adversaries. They stand shoulder to shoulder against the haunted scripts they carried from childhood. When they choose growth, they become one of the Zodiac's most formidable pairs, reflecting depth, loyalty, and emotional transcendence. If this resonance is moving your inner waters, hold the note. Let it shape you as gently as rain reshapes earth. When water meets fertile earth, flourishing follows. The next door is Cancer with Taurus. This isn't a love that explodes, it blooms. It doesn't shout, it takes root. It is built quietly and patiently, like preparing a nest meant to last. Taurus, ruled by Venus, carries devotion to beauty and tangible life. It seeks constancy, pleasure, and security. Its steps are grounded, its words deliberate, its gestures hold the calm wisdom of time. That steadiness captivates Cancer, because beneath the waves, Cancer longs for a harbor, a place where emotion can be received without hurry or judgment. In the anchoring presence of Taurus, something inside Cancer relaxes, as though it can finally rest in arms that do not run when the weather turns. In daily life, this pair forms a delicate blend of nurture and stability. Cancer offers intuitive care, the soft light in the window at the end of a complicated day. Taurus offers structure, rhythm, and protection you can touch. One nurtures the soul, the other keeps the roof strong. One dreams, the other plants. Their vows are written in everyday kindness. Tea steeping without being asked, a blanket raised in the night, a gaze that says, "I'm here," even when the world spins too fast. Simplicity is not small for them, it is essential. In intimacy, Taurus is tactile and patient, savoring time. Cancer turns that time into presence and safe surrender. Every touch becomes a little temple, where body and soul are not torn apart. Taurus shows Cancer that love doesn't need spectacle to be real, and that silence can be more honest than 1,000 phrases. Cancer shows Taurus how to trust what can't be seen and soften the hard edges. In their balance, heart and matter are both honored. Routine stops feeling like a cage and turns into ritual. Love ceases to be static and becomes a home. If you have lived a connection where touch healed, where the daily rhythm felt like poetry, write your date of birth and your sign below. Maybe you already danced this sacred dance. Another portal opens, one that can appear modest but reveals rare harmony. Cancer with Virgo. Not all love begins as wildfire. Some unions arrive as a soft breeze that builds into a steady wind, a shy glance growing into committed presence. That is Cancer with Virgo, a relationship constructed in details, small gestures, and attentive motions that only careful eyes capture. At first, their differences are obvious. Cancer leads with heart and intuition.
Virgo leads with mind, observation, and a devotion to order. But their secret lives in the contrast. They do not cancel each other. They complete each other, trading lenses they once thought too distant to share.
Virgo, ruled by Mercury, holds a precise intelligence. Its love is rarely loud, but always reliable, consistent, and fiercely loyal. It expresses care by tending, straightening what's crooked, organizing the visible so the invisible can breathe. Virgo notices what others miss. That attention becomes a profound act of love in Cancer's book. Cancer answers with waters that melt Virgo's defenses, listening with sensitivity, offering instinctual empathy, wrapping Virgo in the truth. You don't have to be perfect to be cherished. In Cancer's embrace, Virgo exhales and is allowed to be gloriously human rather than flawlessly correct. In daily rhythms, they create something solid and gentle. Cancer stewards the emotional climate of the home. Virgo safeguards function and clarity so everything remains clean and true. One stirs the soup, the other lights the candle. One remembers the aunt's birthday, the other pays the bill on time. Even imperfections seem to arrive right on schedule. In intimacy, their music is slow, building. Virgo yields gradually once it trusts the room is honest. Cancer never forces the opening. When surrender happens, it is unique in depth. Each pause becomes care, each touch a thoughtful vow. It can feel almost therapeutic, two inner worlds greeting each other with reverence. Of course, there are snags. Cancer may fear Virgo's coolness. Virgo may feel Cancer heightens drama. With respectful dialogue and a genuine desire to grow, obstacles become bridges. Virgo learns that feeling isn't an enemy. Cancer learns that clarity is a kindness. Through each other, both expand their emotional education. This is a love that strengthens with time, reveres small rituals, and thrives on overlooked details. Coffee poured without asking, a whispered compliment after a grueling day, a hand at the back when steadiness is needed. In these tiny reverences, their love takes root. If you recognize yourself here, if the Virgo once organized your chaos or a Cancer read your soul when you had no words, share your date of birth and your sign in the comments. Your experience may help another heart trust that love can be built through patience and truth. We turn toward a more ethereal door, prayer-like and ocean-laced, Cancer with Pisces. When Cancer meets Pisces, the sea sees itself in the mirror. Both speak compassion fluently. Both know softness is not weakness, but the courage to stay open in a world that rewards numbness. Cancer brings the harbor. Pisces brings the cathedral of imagination. Cancer anchors. Pisces enchants. When their currents weave, tenderness becomes intelligence and forgiveness an art you choose daily. In ordinary moments, Cancer holds space for what is fragile and precious. Pisces paint washes that space with music and images, so suffering becomes bearable and joy grows vivid. Cancer protects the shell of life. Pisces keeps the light within. When conflict arrives, Pisces teaches Cancer to float rather than sink, to let the wave pass rather than wrestling it. Cancer shows Pisces how to come home when drifting turns into escape, to choose presence over fantasy when love needs you now. Their intimacy is watercolor, edges blending, colors deepening, moments lingering like sea glass memories. Grounded together in budgets, rest, boundaries, and scheduled tenderness, they prove empathy can fortify rather than drown. Here, at the quiet center of these pairings, let a gentle reminder arrive.
If this message is holding you, like this video now so it can find the people who need it. Support Signs and Secrets. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. Your care helps keep this sanctuary open. Still, life circles back with an unexpected voice, a breeze through an open window. Gemini. People often assume Gemini is here only to entertain, to lighten rooms with laughter, yet they carry a subtler teaching. How to find poetry in chaos, how to dance with doubt, how to smile through rain, how to rebuild the sandcastle exactly as the wave pulls back. Gemini moves like a comet, appearing, blazing, changing, then gone, but never forgotten. Life beside Gemini becomes a constellation of luminous instants, so intense they feel eternal while they last. With Gemini, you feel everything at once: tenderness and confusion, warmth and cool, clarity and paradox. Inside that mosaic lives the gift. Living is precisely this: navigating extremes without losing center.
Behind the quick wit and curious eyes hide pains few witness. Gemini often feels for 2, thinks for 3, fights for 4, then goes quiet for 5. Not for lack of connection, but because they know not everyone is ready to touch the edges where truth resists straight lines. There is something spiritual in the twins, a foot in the visible and another in the unseen. One gaze in the present, one ear turned toward tomorrow. An intuitive comprehension of human nature makes them hard to deceive. If they pretend not to notice, it is to protect what is tender. If they keep silence, it is to avoid harm. When they leave, it's often because the lesson their heart could deliver has already been given. Even in absence, Gemini leaves traces, laughter in the air, phrases returning days later, a mind remacked by a question that won't let go. It is a soft alchemy, sewing ideas into the fabric of others in small, meaningful ways. Have you been changed by a Gemini? Found yourself smiling as one of their lines flashed back to you? Missed a conversation only to realize it rearranged your thinking afterward? That is their inheritance, teaching through humor, healing through words, mastering impermanence, modeling a love that doesn't cage, a touch that awakens without enslaving, and understanding glance even when the picture blurs. Gemini is bridge, wind, language, change. This is why envy follows them. Their essence is freedom. Their legacy is wisdom. Their presence reminds us that life asks for movement. When Gemini goes, as they often must, the space left behind is a summons. Be kinder to the miracle of being alive. Don't hold so tightly that your hands forget how to open. Do not mistake rigidity for a fidelity to yourself. Give yourself permission to change, to be 2 things while you are becoming a 3rd. Start again, even when others do not understand. The art of living is reinvention. Thinking can be love. Changing your mind can be growth. Laughter can be defiance. Speaking can be medicine. Loving can mean leaving the door unbarred so the soul can breathe.
Return now to the lunar hearth that began this journey. Cancer's devotion is not performance, it is practice. It is the daily tending of memory and meaning. It is keeping the lamp lit in the window of a home that exists in 2 places at once. Inside the chest and at the kitchen table where tea cools and words are gentle. This is why Cancer seeks partners who meet feeling with reverence. Scorpio's intensity can serve as a lantern beneath the seafloor, illuminating the long hidden truths. Taurus's loyalty to truth can act as an anchor, keeping their emotions grand but grounded when they are, in turn, the truth over which their egos breaks like glass. Virgo's egg puts a lust for continuity above the urgency for feeling in the moment, prevailing the wisdom of the unconscious. Pisces wraps processes of intention over every attempted healing. Try learning ordering his name like a self-esteem booster, tap the bottoms of age and age to ravenous. If your soul recognizes one of these tides, speak it into the circle. Share your date of birth and your zodiac sign below so the invisible thread between us grows visible and strong. This channel is called Signs and Secrets for a reason. We honor what the sky assigns and what your inner life keeps secret until it is ready to be spoken. And you're the beginning of your path with us, or if you found your way back after time away, make sure you're subscribed to Signs and Secrets so every new doorway we open is one you can walk through. Let this be the page you return to whenever you need a reminder that your emotions are worthy, your intuition is wise, and your rhythm is holy. Let's name the trials honestly. Cancer sensitivity can be misunderstood in a world that rewards emotional armor. Scorpio's intensity can be misread as control when it is, in truth, a devotion to total presence. Taurus's steadiness may be dismissed as stubbornness by those who have forgotten how to build. Virgo's precision can be caricatured as perfectionism when it is an offering of care. Pisces' openness can be unfairly labeled escapism by the hurried. And Gemini, who wandered into this waterlet story, may be accused of fickleness when their gift is adaptation and the courage to turn the page before the narrative goes stale. Each archetype distorts under fear and brightens under love. The work is not to be flawless. The work is to be faithful to growth.
Picture the home these pairings can build with Cancer. In the Scorpio Cancer house, the cellar is clean and the candlelight is honest. Secrets are aired, then healed. In the Taurus Cancer house, bread is warm, laughter is unhurried, and the seasons are honored like holy days. In the Virgo Cancer house, drawers open easily, calendars hold compassion, and small acts get the applause they deserve. In the Pisces Cancer house, music floats down the halls, forgiveness sits at the table, and dreams are given chores so they can stay. And in the Gemini breeze that passes through any one of those rooms, a window is cracked open, the curtains lift, and everyone remembers to breathe. Some loves are meteor showers, dazzling and brief, and some are constellations you navigate by for years. Cancer's longing is not for spectacle, but for the night sky that returns, faithful, season after season. It wants the bond that survives routine. It wants tenderness that makes the mundane beautiful. It wants the kind of memory that doesn't collapse when life goes quiet. If that longing is alive in you, you're in the right place. Halfway through this journey, pause and take care of what sustains you. If this message is bringing you clarity or comfort, gently like this video now so it reaches those who have been waiting for it without knowing why. And if you are able, remember the simplest way to keep this lighthouse bright. Support Signs and Secrets. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. Return to the sea for a moment. The tide teaches two paradoxes, coming back and letting go. Cancer knows both. To love deeply is to return again and again to the shore of a person's truth. And it is also to let go of who we were yesterday so we can meet who we are becoming. Scorpio understands the descent that precedes rebirth. Taurus models the steadiness that makes trust possible. Virgo builds rituals that cradle the heart. Pisces reminds us that mercy is architecture too. Gemini whispers that change is the only boat that floats in every weather. Together, these teachers show Cancer and all of us how to stay, how to grow, how to forgive, and how to begin again.
If you carried pain into this video, let it rest in the salt air. If you carried hope, let it bloom where it's planted. If you carried questions, let them be lanterns instead of weapons. And if you carried love, let it be ordinary and holy at the same time. Set the table, answer the text, pour the water, listen fully. These small sacraments change everything. As this current nears its gentle close, gather the threads. Cancer and Scorpio, two divers of the same ocean, turning fear into medicine. Cancer and Taurus, gardeners of endurance, turning simplicity into gold. Cancer and Virgo, curators of care, turning order into kindness. Cancer and Pisces, poets of mercy, turning vulnerability into strength. And Gemini, yes, Gemini turning air into compass, reminding us that breath is the first prayer and the last. Ask yourself softly, which tide did your soul recognize? Which room felt like home? If a memory glowed while you listened, speak it into being. Share your date of birth and your zodiac sign in the comments so your presence can thread into the circle. Someone out there may need the story you carry in order to believe their own. This is the quiet mission of Signs and Secrets, to be a lantern for the inner life, to be a harbor for the sensitive, to be a chorus for the ones who feel deeply and refuse to call that a flaw. You do not need to become invulnerable to be safe. You need the right kind of nearness. You need people who read your pauses with gentleness, who take your memories seriously, who treat tenderness as intelligence. You need conversations that aren't a competition to speak, but a sanctuary where listening is a sacred art. You need ritual, little ones, to remind you life is happening now. The teacup, the walk, the message that says, I'm here. You need perhaps permission to stop auditioning for rooms that never were yours. The archetypes have a way of placing us where our gifts make sense. So come as you are. Let the tides inside you move. If along the way you felt held or seen, make sure you're subscribed to Signs and Secrets so this sanctuary remains close when you need it. May these words be the open door you can return to on evenings when the noise is too loud and your heart wants to hear a quieter wisdom. May they remind you that your softness is not a liability, but a leadership, not fragility, but a language the world is starved to hear. Before you go, receive this small practice. Tonight, thank one steady presence in your life. If no person comes to mind, thank the part of you that kept showing up through grief, through change, through seasons of doubt. Whisper a promise to keep tending what is tender. Set one boundary that protects your peace. Keep one window open so surprise can visit. This is how constellations are made, one bright point at a time, across years. If the map we drew together was useful, like this video now so the message reaches the quietest corners where it's needed most. It takes one heartbeat to press that button. It can add one more lighthouse to someone's storm. And if you want to deepen your path with us, subscribe to Signs and Secrets so every new message finds you at the right hour, the way moonlight finds the sea. Support each other in the comments. Write your date of birth and your zodiac sign. Be the echo that tells another soul you're not alone in feeling this much. At the end of every tide, there is a beginning. Hold that truth like a warm stone in your palm. Love is not a trick of luck, it is a craft of attention. And you, sensitive one, are already an artist. If your heart wants company on the way, you know where to find us. Right here, returning like phases of the moon, loyal to what matters.
Subscribe before you leave, add your voice below, and keep this sanctuary glowing in your feed. And one last gentleness before we part, remember to like this video so it continues to travel to meet the ones who are quietly searching. If you want to hear everything the universe has to say to you, watch these other videos on our channel.